Morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Joe Nicasio, your business coach, coming to you today from Steilacoom, Washington, in the Pacific Northwest near Seattle and Tacoma. And today, the topic of today is finding your business calling and what is your calling. And this is one of the most daunting projects I've ever undertaken because for some people, they just know they're calling at a very young age, but how do you figure out what do you want to be when you grow up? What's the business for you? Or, I think, far too many people, they wake up every day saying, I got to go to work, and they really don't enjoy the process. But when you find your calling, it's like you look forward to your day. It's like, I love what I do. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm good at what I do. I'm making a big difference in people's lives. And wow, I even make money doing this. So, got a lot to kind of share with you today, and I want to invite you to join us. We're doing this thing starting March 12th called the Business Wisdom Quest. You can go to businesswisdomquest.com and you can get a little bit of detail of what it is. It's an 8-week program, one of my lowest price programs I've ever done. But let's get into it. So, I think if you want to get everything you want in life, not only get everything, but give everything you want in life and do something you truly enjoy where you wake up every day looking forward to your day, it starts with like, what do I have to work with? My mentor, Jay Abraham, wrote a book called How to Get Everything You Want by Using Everything You Got. And so I think the first question is, what's everything you got? And so that's the get it. What is everything you got is taking an inventory of your tangible assets and your intangible assets. And so a lot of times we think that the tangible assets is what's important, like how much cash do you have or how much real estate do you have, and that's really not the important stuff. The real opportunity is the intangible assets, your skills, your abilities, your knowledge, your passions, your interests. Those things are things that really drive what you're all about. So you want to inventory your tangible assets, but you also want to inventory your intangible assets. And think about it. Think about a medical doctor. Why does a medical doctor make so much money? It's because they have. It's not because they're tangible assets. You go to medical school and they give you a license to practice medicine. How much can you sell that medical license for on eBay? You can't sell it for much. That tangible asset isn't worth much. But why do doctors do so well typically? Usually it's because of their intangible assets, their ability to observe and have a bedside manner and, diagnose the patient and prescribe proper medications or procedures. Those assets that a doctor has, they're intangible assets. And so, that's the first thing is intangible. What are your passions? What are your expertise? What do you bring to the table in terms of your ability to improve somebody's life? Then the next, intangible asset you want to inventory is your relationships. You can't put your relationships in a wheelbarrow. You can't carry them around, but they're definitely valuable. And so you want to start inventorying. Well, who's in my relationship inventory? Who do I have access to? And what are their skills and their talents and abilities? So I think that's the first step in terms of if you're going to find your calling, it's like you need to gather the raw materials of who you are and what you have, to work with. Um, so let's kind of get started in this. Uh, so you know, Finding your calling is um, really finding something where you can make people's lives better and do it with joy in your heart. You know, we spend money on things that make our life better. And so if we want people to spend money with us, we need to figure out how we can make people's lives better and do it in a way that brings joy to our heart. And so, um, I think a lot of people are like, well, I want to open a restaurant someday, but they don't have the $500,000 it takes to lock down a lease and get all the equipment and do all that. And so, one of the things you want to do is, focus on the present. Ignore the future, deal with the present. What should I be when I grow up is wrong. Instead, ask what is next today. What's the next step? You do want to have that long term vision, but you need to, the quality of being there is the steps it takes to get there. You want to imagine the future and then bring it back into the now and be present with, what you can do today. Finding your calling is, start to expose yourself to new ideas and new possibilities. Hopefully your whole life you've been exploring new ideas and new possibilities. You've been exploring, um, your whole life. You've been having experiences and travels and seeing the way other people do things. And so, you know, um, unless you're trying to, if unless you're trying on the outfit, you never know if it fits. So, when it comes to vocations or avocations, hobbies, and skills, you need to kind of sample and get a flavor to know what's out there. So, this is something that for young people, it's a little bit hard for them to understand, but maybe you do need to get a couple jobs, work for other people to know what you don't like doing, and so you can start discovering what you do. Another thing that you can do is say yes to odd opportunities. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. You got to be willing to put yourself a little bit into discomfort to find out what is comfortable for you. You need to be willing to try new stuff. And if you're not willing to experiment a little and try new stuff, say yes to things that intrigue you instead of the ones that will bore you. The next thing is find a problem to solve. Being the solution makes your work feel meaningful. I know that people come to me and they don't have a business that works, and then we figure out, oh, this is the business you should be in, and then we put more time into it, and we help them build a better business, build a business from scratch. And people come to me with no business, and then they come to me and we figure out what business, then we build a business that works. It's very fulfilling. It's like, hey Joe, I just made the first sale in the business you helped me start. So, when you solve a problem for people, they appreciate it. Usually they appreciate it. Some people are ungrateful. Okay, that's just a reality. So, I want to realize, there's trouble out there in the world. There's plenty of problems in the world, and there's work to be done. There's two kinds of problems: the ones people will pay to solve, and the problems people won't pay to solve. And so, and then what you want to do is kind of burn your plans. If you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Sometimes, being the solution, your life doesn't always go according to plan. Nobody's ever has. Okay, so don't worry if it gets off track. The track was imaginary anyway. So there's like this, what we expect life to be and what life actually is. And so, be willing to let go of how you think it should be instead of finding out what really makes you tick. And then the next thing, in terms of helping you figure out what your calling is or your life purpose, is don't follow someone else's dream. Uh, you know, um, I understand this desire to make others happy, but you don't want to ignore your own needs. And if you ignore your needs and you're just doing things to make yourself happy, you're going to end up, being kind of resentful about your path. Your parents want you to do certain things, your boss wants you to do certain things, your friends want you to do certain things, and society tells you want to do certain things, but you can't please everyone. But if you know what you think you should do, at least you'll be able to sleep at night knowing this is the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. And then, you want to blend your talents, okay? Instead of doing something that only takes advantage of one skill, create a mashup of several things that you do well. You'll set yourself apart and feel more satisfied. Today I'm a business troubleshooter or a business problem solver. Well, see, once upon a time, to be an electronic problem solver, electronics troubleshooter. And so I learned a lot about sales and marketing, but there's these things called transferable skills, things that you used to do that you think, oh, I don't need that anymore, but maybe it's transferable skills. And then the next thing in terms of choosing your calling is, seek out people you actually like and seek out people you actually like to work with. Like if you're building a team, you want people that have heart, you want to have people that have humor, you want to have people that have patience. You kind of want all three of those. Okay, it's more satisfying, to dig a ditch with friends than to design a skyscraper with, narcissists and sociopaths and people that are a little bit psychotic. So if you enjoy the people you're working with, I think that that's going to be more fulfilling work than doing work where you have to be around like cray cray people. Okay. And another thing in terms of choosing your calling or finding your calling is give yourself permission to change your mind. In other words, you know, hopefully, if you put the work in to find your calling, then you won't have to change your mind because you'll know. One of my clients, Solomon Van Buren, he came to me and he's 21 years old, making 14 bucks an hour for doing customer service for Netflix. He's like, Joe, like I don't mind having a job, but I don't want to do this the rest of my life. Um, and so he's like, I want to build a recording studio. It's like, okay, that's good. Do you have millions of dollars? Do you have the money for the real estate to lock down a good location where you can make a lot of noise at night and during the day? And so it's like, okay, well, let's not focus on something you can't do. Let's focus on something you can do. And he came back a week later. He says, Joe, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a traveling DJ. And you know what? That was 5, 6 years ago. Guess what? He's a traveling DJ today. He has survived through COVID. He's coming out the other side. He loves what he does. He still maintains a day job. He has his DJ side hustle, and he loves doing that as much or more than the day job. So he's having a blast making money. And so, you want to nail it down and figure it out. And by the way, Solomon, he's making enough money in his job plus his DJ business that now he's starting to get his equipment for his recording studio. So it's all happening. So, the world changes. We need to be a little bit flexible to adjust. We need to focus on what can I do now? What do I want ultimately as my vision? And what can I do now to start moving towards that? Most of us change our paths around 18. As time passes, you might find new things to do and, places to be and people to know, and a few calls you made at 18 will probably need to be overturned. I know the stuff that was important to me at 18, by the time I was 28, it was very different. By the time I was 38, it was very different. And so you got to give yourself a starting place and a path and a direction, and give yourself some flexibility and latitude to make the changes. And then another thing you can do to help you find your calling is to ask the elderly for advice. Ask your grandpa. Who has experience and who has wisdom. A bad boss might have experience, but probably they're low on the experience, but they're high on the experience, or maybe low on the wisdom. But maybe talk to your grandpa, people in your family that know. People that have been there, that have done that. They got an AARP card, the American Association of Retired People. You'll find that happiness and satisfaction have more to do with love and purpose than dollars and cents. If you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work at all. Another way to start looking for your calling is to roam around at the library. You never know which book or author or topic will speak to you, which will trigger you. You might just find that you didn't even know what you were looking for. In a place like library, just a vast, vast resource library of human knowledge. And seek support, not tolerance. You're going to need help with anything and everything. So make sure that you have people in your corner that do more than just nod their head and say, "Oh, that's nice," when you tell them your dreams. There's three parts of environment, three components of environment. The first part of environment is the physical environment. If you don't have a supportive physical environment, but most people, if you have a roof over your head and a little bit of private space, you have an environment that's going to support you. Then the people in your environment, do you have loving people in your environment that care about you? And then the third one is ideas in your environment. You may have people that love you, but they just lack the expertise, the true. So you want to get support from people that really can support you. You can't learn to be a millionaire from somebody that's never done it themselves. Okay. So I think it's important that you go there. Another piece towards discovering your calling is to spend time before you spend money. So you want to kind of be an investigator. You want to try things out and discover and take actions, and then investigate further and discover and take actions. And when you do that, you can make this thing called careful progress. investing in reading and talking and finding out before you plunk down a ton of money on a degree or certification or relocation. It's just a wise use of your time. Invest the time before you plink down the money. You might find that you don't have to write a check to compose your future. The truth is it doesn't take money to make money. It takes customers, it takes clients, and you can start making money today if you've got the right calling and the right business idea. And another thing you want to do is don't confuse a job with a purpose. And if you're working to support your family, then they're your real bosses. If you're working to further your goals or your ideas, don't let your paycheck become an obstacle to your purpose and your calling. I see this a lot. People are like, let's help you build your dream business, and a lot of people are like, well, I just need to make money. Okay, so they want to receive the money, but like they're never asking that question. What's that joyful purpose calling that you can give in order to receive that money? So a lot of times the desperation for the money calls us away from like living our purpose. A lot of people during COVID, they said, well, why should I start this dream business when I got this perfectly good paycheck? And then COVID hit. And then all of a sudden it's like everybody got laid off. Everybody was told to stay home. And so a lot of people started saying, you know what? Maybe I do need to dust off my dream business and start thinking about building it now, because now is the time. But we get so caught up in like busy, 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 making the money, being a provider. I got to make more money, got to make more money, that we never ask ourselves, like we want to receive the money so we can take care of our responsibilities. But if you want to receive a lot, you got to learn to give a lot. And you shouldn't just give like on a job that you don't like, or on a business that's stealing your soul, or, something there's a lot of struggle and frustration in. So it's really important to take the time to be an artist and be creative and say, how can I give in the most joyful, how can I give in a way where I'm doing what I love, sharing the love, receiving the love. If you want to receive a lot, you got to learn to give a lot. And if you can give in a place that's in your bliss zone, you're going to be more on track towards finding your calling. Another thing, is you want to consider your epitaph, not your resume. This is powerful. Thinking long term can help you see what's both important and what's certainly silly. I think we're so busy, like I need to put together my resume to impress an employer. We're never really asking that deeper question of, how do I want to be remembered after I'm dead and gone? What's your legacy? And so, we can do things in the now, but that'll just stress us out. But what's really important is saying I love you to the people you love, and having satisfaction in the work that you do. So thinking long term can help you see what's vitally important and certainly silly. So another thing to think about in terms of helping you find your calling is, there is no need to be the best. Very few people are the very best in the world at anything. Doing your best doesn't mean you have to be the best. Okay, your best is more than enough. You don't have to be the best in the world, but when it comes to your clients, you need to be the best in their world. So, you want to have a high contribution, dedication, but just if you have a lot of abilities but you're not making much contribution, that's kind of a waste of your time and effort and energy in your life. So it's nice to not only use your abilities but make a contribution that really makes a difference in people's lives. And keeping score is kind of a silly thing too. No one will be at the top or bottom of their game forever, and who you perceive as your competition is constantly changing cast of characters. So keeping score can be a full-time job if you let it, and that's an awful way to spend a day, much less a lifetime. So you want to start thinking about who can you collaborate with versus who can you compete with. And if you find yourself coasting, if you find yourself in a comfort zone, change course. If you find yourself coasting, it's possible to get stuck in a very easy but vaguely rewarding path. So like a cushy or under demanding job. If you feel yourself simply rolling along, it's time to switch gears and because coasting can atrophy your dreams. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Coasting can atrophy your dreams. Okay. And then another thing in terms of finding your calling is to Be authentically uncool. Okay, stick with what you love, even if others sneer at it. Okay, this is referred to as integrity. Okay, so if you're valuable and you're doing the right thing, that's better than being popular doing something that's easy or empty. Okay, you want to do the right thing for you, like to hell with everyone else. Okay, this is your life, you got to live it. You're not here to live your life for someone else. You're here to live your life for yourself at the benefit of others, but you're not doing to please them. You're doing it because in your heart and soul, this is what you're supposed to be doing. That's what a calling it really is. And the other thing is relax. Okay, there is no right answer, but there are thousands of viable options. And so sometimes we have somewhere to go, and sometimes we have someone to love, and sometimes we have something to do. And if you can kind of merge those things, you can have a pretty good life. Okay, and so look, finding your calling is one of the biggest challenges. Yeah, I help people start businesses from scratch, and my job is to help them choose their business wisely. And for some people it's kind of an easy process, and some people it's really like pulling teeth. It's a difficult process. And so that's why I put together this program. I'm starting in March 12th. It's an 8-week program called Business Wisdom Quest, and it's really an 8-week program to help you find your calling in business, to help you wake up every day and do what you love. Most of us, when it comes to career or business or making money, we never did the deep dive to really figure out what's the right path for you. And so a lot of people, they're serial entrepreneurs. They start a business to make money, or and then they make money and then they get bored with it, and then they end up having to start from scratch again and start another business. Or maybe they create a business because they just do it out of passion, but it doesn't make money, so they have to dump that business and they have to start another one. So that's the reason why I created this Business Wisdom Quest, is you can stop being a serial entrepreneur and you can find your one thing that you can stick to for a long, 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 long time, because you want to wake up every day. This is the ultimate goal, is you wake up every day saying, I love what I do. I look forward to my day. I'm good at what I do. I'm using my superpowers. I'm making a big difference. I'm changing, improving lives for the better. And wow, I even make money doing it, and I'm highly appreciated by the clients I serve. So that's the challenge. The Business Wisdom Quest is 8 weeks working with me on hitting this business calling thing from many, many different angles. And I am certain that if you go through this program, we can help you get some general direction and refine that to find some more specific direction. And the ultimate goal of the Business Wisdom Quest is to help you find your North Star, so that look, if you're running fast and you're running in the wrong direction, you don't need a motivator to come along and say run faster. What you need to do is stop and get out your compass, get some guidance to figure out where you are and where you're going. Because it doesn't matter if you're going slow, if you're going fast, you'll get there if you know what your North Star is. And unfortunately, in business, many people don't know their North Star. I would say maybe one of the biggest reasons people fail in business is they choose the wrong business. You don't want to be in the wrong, but you don't want to get into a business and then find out, 6 months or a year, 2 or 3 years later, you're in the wrong business. That's the whole purpose of Business Wisdom Quest .com, and this program that we're doing starting on March 12th is to help you. Um, let's nail it down. Let's take 8 weeks. Let's figure out what's the right business for you. Let's get you started the right way in the right business, so that 2 or 3 or 4 years later you don't say, oh, I should have, would have, could have done something else. The idea here is let's help you find that North Star, so you wake up every day now, 3 years from now, 5 years, 10 years from now, and you don't have to look in the rear view mirror saying, I should have done something different. You want to really wake up every day saying, I know this is exactly the right business. This is my calling. This is my purpose. This is my mission. The work I'm doing is the stuff that's going to help me build my legacy, to change my life and change the lives of others. And doing this work in my calling, I can have more money, but I can also have more meaning. I can do meaningful work that pays me well and gives me freedom. This is work that gives me good income, because I'm having a big impact, and fulfillment. And as a result of that, it gives me that independence that I look for. So if you're in that spot where you're ready to start your new business, if you're in that spot where you want to make sure that you get in the right business for you, if you're in that spot, it's like, are you in business already? Are you looking to start one? If you're in that spot where you're looking to start one, and then the next question is, do you know what business you're trying to, what business you want to go into? Or are you still trying to figure out? If you're still trying to figure out what business you want to be in, Business Wisdom Quest uh, is a journey to help you figure that out. I'm your guide. I'm your Sherpa. I'm your mentor. And my responsibility in this course is to spend eight weeks with you to help you figure it out. There's going to be content. I'll be teaching you things. There's coaching. There's worksheets. There's exercises. And it's, the idea here is just to let's start with a blank canvas. What you've done in the past does not have to, the past does not equal the present or the future. And so, let's start with a blank canvas and build your dream business as opposed to just getting into a business for the money. Yes, I want you to make money, and I also want you to have joy, happiness, fulfillment, and even bliss in the process of doing that, so that you can have fun making money, making a difference, and truly live your life purpose. If you want help, go to businesswisdomquest.com. There's some details about the program there, or you can private message me here on Facebook, and if you have further questions about the program. My normal programs are in the $5,000 and $10,000 price range. This is more in the $497 US dollars, or 3 payments of $187. So I think it's worth it to, there's a cost to going through this program, which is about $500. The cost of not doing this is continuing on work you don't enjoy, or doesn't make you money, or isn't within your calling or purpose. If you want the help's available. Reach out. This is Joe. Got a little frog in my throat. God bless